Kurt, Amanda, a main topic of tonight's meeting was what exactly is Romantic Depot? We learned, according to zoning laws, that it's actually not considered an adult establishment. At the moment, it's being considered a retail store, which many people feel is not the case, and they're very upset about.
We're just going to fight it as best we can. We don't know what the outcome is going to be, but we want them to know that we don't want them here.
Here's one thing that basically comes up every once in a while, especially in New York and Florida, and you hear these stories that come every once in a while. There's a company called Romantic Depot. Now, Romantic Depot is a store similar to Adam and Eve. They basically sell a lot of lingerie, a lot of adult toys and movies, DVDs, Blu-rays. And they are a branch of stores. This is not one store that just opened up brand spanking new. Well, they are brand spanking new, but they have multiple outlets throughout this part of the country. Mostly New York, I think. It's like, they have multiple outlets throughout. What has happened now? There's a new one that opened up in Brooklyn. And you would think that this would happen down in Georgia, Louisiana, Florida, all that, but basically off of Xpix, Brooklyn Adult Boutique challenged by local moralists. We'll read this from XBiz. Local moralists have targeted the recent opening of the branch of Romantic Depot Adult Boutique in Brooklyn using the outdated zone regulations to argue that it should be treated as an adult entertainment establishment and not as a retail store. In a case more typical Georgia than New York City, a small group of Brooklynites have decided, always a small group, have decided to protest the boutique located on Fulton Street. A few locals are upset that the Romantic Depot has been classified as a retail store by the Department of Buildings, the Bronx News 12 reports. The Clinton Hill location is the 11th in the tri-state area. As I said, they've had multiple stores. Residents say they feel that this is misleading and the shop appears to be an adult establishment by the advertisement. It is an adult shop. By the window, News 12 explains. Outdating zoning regulations in New York dating from the time when pleasure products were limited to establishments that include porn booths, peep shows, prohibited adult establishments from being within 500 feet of a house of worship or school. The Romantic Depot is about 200 feet from a church, 500 feet of another church and a mosque. It's in a dense urban center like New York. It is virtually impossible to find commercial real estate that complies with that zoning requirement outside the marginal industrial zones. I understand that this is a business and not particularly accepted. Christina Chavez, executive director of the Loyal Business Organization, FAB Fulton, told the Brooklyn paper, but they're not doing anything illegal. Then at the end of the day, they have the right to be there, just like the deli across the street, the restaurant next door. A spokesman for the Department of Buildings told the Brooklyn paper that the Romantic Depot has also been subject to several 311 complaints that the agency inspectors will come to visit the store conducting a field inspection. The Clinton Hill Romantic Depot will continue operating, although News 12 said there's already a lawsuit challenging its status. Now, the thing about it is, from what I understand from the Romantic Depot, is throughout the tri-state area, they've made adjustments to their stores. I know there's one branch that does not have any adult movies and DVDs and Blu-rays. In other words, they minus that out and a couple of other products from their stores. They work to stay within the standards on there, from what I understand. But you also have to understand also, this is not the stores back from the Times Square days. A lot of these stores have evolved and become more toward the romantic lingerie store. Yes, of course, they have little sex toys and stuff for the couples, and there's nothing illegal of that. You got a small minority who doesn't want this in their neighborhood. But from what you see from the pictures, it is covered up. To the nature. All it has is the advertisements on the outside, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong. This is like I said. This is not the Deuce from the 1960s, the 70s, the 80s. These stores have evolved. They've changed because the business has changed. It's not like it used to be on there. There's no problem with other larger companies, having their stores, cross country in New York, California. These stores do exist. There are some stores from the Deuce era that still do exist out there, but they've had to begin to change as well because basically they can't. Let's put it in this perspective. They can't stay in the business they can. The sex booths and stuff like that, those are days long gone. You have to put that in the perspective, because for the thing is that there's a lot of free porn out there online all the time, and you could download stuff, you can watch it on certain sites. There's so much out there, where the booths have become outdated. I mean, they are still out there, but they're outdated. This is not a place with live sex acts or anything of nature. It is just a store. That's all it is.